Let's continue with question number 7 from RACE-2 of the Secureum Bootcamp. So we have a question about the remove all members function. It asks whether A, it will not work as expected to remove all the members from the DAO. It will work as expected to remove all the members from the DAO. And C, is a critical function missing an event emission? So let's take a look. So what determines in this contract whether someone is a member or not is this mapping. This is a mapping from address, so the address of the member, to bool, which is, since all variables in Ethereum are 0 initialized at beginning, and for a boolean that means that everything is false by default. It means all the addresses in this mapping are false by default, and only if you set an address to true, then a member is actually, or an address is actually a member of this DAO apparently. So what would we need to remove all the members from the DAO in this case? Well, in this case it wouldn't be possible. It would not be practically possible to have a function that removes all the members from the DAO, because you cannot iterate a mapping. You cannot do a for loop for each member, set the bool to false, because mappings are not iterable. What we would need is, additionally to a mapping, we would need an array, but this array would also potentially grow very large, and iterating over it might cost a lot of gas. In fact, it might cost so much gas that it could never iterate everything, and basically then it would be a broken function. So even that is probably not a good solution. So what we probably want instead is maybe a batch remove members function, where we can pass an array, a batch of members into this function, and this function would then remove or set to false all of these memberships. So it is not as easy as a single variable change, basically, or as executing a single command. And if you look at this remove all members function that the question is about, we see that what it does is delete members message sender. So the delete function is just the same as if we would just set the members and the membership of message sender to 0 or false. So delete is nothing else than resetting a value back to its 0 value. And in this case, we would simply remove the caller as a member, but it wouldn't remove all members as the function name suggests. So back to the question, will this remove all members function work as expected to remove all the members from the DAO? It will certainly not work as expected, so A is the correct option in this case. And then C says that remove all members is a critical function missing an event emission. And we already had this. We already had in another question that event emissions for critical functions, critical privileged functions, are missing. And a function that removes all the members from the DAO is certainly a critical function that is callable by only privileged admins. Now, the fact that it actually doesn't work correctly, we will just assume that this is an oversight, that this was actually a mistake, and the actual function that was intended to be here was actually intended to be correctly working and intended to really remove all the members. And in that case, yes, it should definitely have an event emission to allow people to easily monitor for a big change like that. So A and C are correct.